cool though.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Creatives POV podcast. My name is Ethan.
No.
Today we have the boy Jayden Swaim.
Let's go.
On the
let's
podcast, Des Moines native. Introduce yourself, man.
I'm Jayden Swaim from West Des Moines, born and raised. I'm a student. Yeah, not much to me. Junior at Iowa State, but thanks for having me, guys. Happy to be
Yeah,
here.
dude. Super stoked to
sir.
have you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's get into what you're doing at Iowa State. And tell us kind of your backstory on being a student, because there's been a lot of rabbit trails you followed.
Has, bro. It's been a long journey. So I went to Des Moines Christian, graduated from there in 21, and then went to KU, was in a long-term relationship, and followed her, and we went, and then ended up, I was like a biotech major. I was doing medical device sales and wasn't competitive about sales, hated it. And so it wasn't until like sophomore year, the fall, we broke up, and I was like, something's got to change. Like it was a lot, and I changed my major. I was like, got reached out to by Corley Wilkerson, and he was like, let's do a rebrand project. Like, I want you on this. Like, I know you're artsy. And I was like, okay, like, I guess like I'll do something for the church. Like it was like nothing. I didn't think anything of it. And then got connected with that, had a blast making mood boards and graphics and merch. It was so fun, and immediately changed my major, came back home, went to Grandview for a semester. And that was basically like in and out, classes in and out, knew no one. Did a few marketing classes there. And then fully switched to marketing digital media at Iowa State. Started just month ago or 2 months ago. Loving it. It's been great. It sucks driving to Ames every day, for sure. But it kind of allows me to give me like time to really process and think on new ideas, reading my mind every day. Like I'll listen to Rich Wilkerson every day or something. Like it's a good time for me to kind of, I don't know, regroup for the day and get in a good mindset.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
basically
healthy.
the journey.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So, you mentioned you collaborated with some projects at the church at Summit Creek. So what other projects have you worked on in the like creative space, and like what would you consider your creative niche to be?
I'd say I think it first began. So I was going to an ARC church in Lawrence, Kansas. Started freshman year of college. I was going there, got connected, and I wanted to do, I don't know why, I was like, oh, I think social media would be kind of cool. And I started doing that for them. So I was editing, cutting videos for reels and posting their Instagram and Facebook and whatnot, and was able to kind of really develop to their language and kind of know their wording and kind of adapt to their target audience. And I was like, okay, I can kind of see this starting to be something. Didn't think anything of it. I was like, it kind of felt like a job that I wasn't getting paid for. I was like, I'm just volunteering at a church. It wasn't anything serious. And it allowed me to kind of do something outside of schoolwork. And it was something I enjoyed, to some parts. I loved, editing videos on whatever. It was fun. I love just the whole technological world, but I started doing it. I was just and then a few months in, I kept going at it, and wasn't until the spring I was like, all right, I feel like I'm going to take a break. Didn't want to do it. Came home for the summer and just didn't reach back out to them that next fall. So that was my first kind of project of actually doing something marketing, digital media wise. And it didn't really spark at first. I was it felt like homework. It felt like more projects for me to do. And I was like, I don't like it. And that's why I was hesitant to do the rebrand project with Corley. I was like, I'm going to be running the social media. I've already done that before, but I'm like, do I really want to? But what really drew me in was kind of Lindsay and I were doing mood boards, and her and I having the same brain on fonts and colors and whatever. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. Countless Zoom meetings. I was enjoying it so much. And that was when the love for it just grew and grew. And I started following so many creators on social media pages that are, whether they're creative directors or they're in ad agencies or they're doing branding or whatever. So many different types of kind of positions. And it's I've totally fallen in love with just marketing overall, and whatever that's involving the creative industry. That's kind of where I've kind of found myself, and met you guys too, which is amazing. And so that was kind of the beginning project, was just randomly running to social media just because I was like, yeah, I'm on Instagram. I know that stuff, but it wasn't until actually enjoying creative stuff is when it really sparked. And I was like, I'm all in.
That's dope, man. That's dope.
So we've had a lot of people on, I feel like, that are all like out of college already. And you're like, I feel like you're one of our first guests, if not the first, that is like still in school. Am I right about that, Ethan?
Yeah, I can't think of anyone
Yeah.
off the top of my head. I mean, we've had a ton, so.
Yeah. So like, what's it like?
Because Isaac dropped out. Jarnigan.
Yeah.
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 Yep. So what's it like being a student? And what are some of the things that you've learned just across your college career, being at multiple places, but also at Iowa State now?
I feel like I've kind of learned, started in the business school and I'm still in business school. And it's kind of hard, like getting into the creative world from that side. Like I'm totally like thinking, it's like thinking back to like my accounting classes. I'm like, I struggled in that. And I was like, man, I wish I could just like I had my iPad, I was taking notes, but like, secret, I was just like drawing on the side. Like I was doing something. I was like, I can't deal with numbers. I'm not a huge numbers guy. And so I feel like learning from a business side is where it kind of hinders my creativity in a sense. Because I'm like, got to think of it from like, a smart business aspect. And I'm like, what is going to like, what are some boundaries that I can get close to, but like, still be safe. And then thinking about that, like if I'm, in the future, like going to want to create a brand, I'm like, how is that going to, hopefully it's going to benefit me. Like I've learned a lot of financial stuff. And so I'm like hoping that's like, I don't know, going to be like beneficial for me to own something, but I'm like worried it's like, coming from this side, is it going to be like, I don't know, is it going to hinder it at all? Is it going to allow me to, I don't know, not be as creative, not be as outgoing, like out of the box with ideas? 'Cause I'm like, got to think money wise, got to think
Not as
like
risk taking.
Yeah. 'Cause I'm like being in marketing, like applying to the masses and making that profit, like making that huge. It's like all the idea of it is. So I'm like, now I'm like in the mindset of like, let's find those niche markets. Like, so let's find those small groups of people that like this small idea. So it's like two contradicting ideas that I'm like bouncing back and forth from. But I'm like, I'm all in for the small niche markets because those are the ones I enjoy the most. But I have the knowledge mindset of like the training and academics of the mass markets and applying to everybody, like what can make the biggest profit.
Give us some examples of like those small markets and the larger ones.
Something that I've seen, like I follow a lot of people on, TikTok. One of my favorites, I think her name is like Robin Del Monte, and she's like, her brand is Girl Boss Town, and she's like the internet's agent, and she'll do PR predictions. She'll do all this stuff, and she'll do like predicting celebrities' Halloween costumes. I'm like, that's so funny. And then she'll be right. And I'm like, she's insane. She did this one. She was like, I want to see someone be like, you guys know the Jim Carrey Grinch movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm. At the beginning scene, like the very beginning of the movie, they're like those Who's like teenagers that are at the mountain. To the top, she was like, I want to see someone do those two Who girls. Like I was like, that is the most like small niche market that I'm like, I want to strive to like find those ideas. Like the small things that people like obviously remember, but like aren't holding on to at first. I'm like, that is so cool. Like that's one of my favorite things to find is those, but I'm like still training my brain of like I'll watch all her videos and I'm just like, what is she doing? Like, what is she doing? I'm like, what decisions?
How do you make money doing something like that, like predicting celebrities' Halloween costumes?
I feel like her story, she was just going into communications, I think. And then she just went huge on TikTok just from being influencer. And now she's kind of doing her own PR and she's made just views and money off of like monetizing her predictions. So
you're probably just like an affiliate, like, and people are just like taking, what you're selling, ads and your ad campaign and monetizing your channel is what I would guess.
Pretty much. And I'm like, I wish I could do that. Like, that's pretty sweet. And like something I like started doing was like on my own TikTok of like, because on my LinkedIn, I got all my notifications set to get creative marketing jobs or internships. I'm like, I made a TikTok of like, hey, like if you're looking for a creative marketing internship, these are ones I have saved. Probably should share because I'm like I already have something. I'm like, I would apply for these. And it's like, I don't know, Urban Outfitters brand marketing or like Poosh, which is like Gwyneth Paltrow's brand, or Lemmy, which is Kourtney Kardashian. Like all of those are looking for interns. I'm like, guys, hop on these. These are cool. Like these are in both branding and like business stuff, but also the creative world and like pop culture industry, which is what I love bringing those two together is like, I love pop culture references. Those are some of my favorite things. And that's like what that one girl on TikTok does all the time is like, she loves pop culture. And I'm like, I love implementing that in little references and little things of branding and advertising.
So that inspires you a lot, pop culture.
100%. Like I'm trying to like, I want her to like make like a blog or something that I can read of like, you know, like, cause I'll do like, you know, little deep dives like on my own, like look up, you know, old ad campaigns that are like iconic or like whether like, you know, I used to watch like runway shows or like old like Vogue like articles. Like I love reading some of those of like what was trending back then. What were the kind of the words that they were saying and what were things that they were mentioning? And I'm like, that's the kind of stuff that I want to reference now, like bringing that back, like, you know, bringing like nostalgic stuff is like what everyone loves and like finding those small things that people can like bring back a memory. Like, oh my gosh, like I remember that time. I remember that. And then like someone see that come to like a product. I'm like, that's the coolest like process of like transformation that I've like kind of like thought of. I'm like, I want to do that. Like whatever it is, I'm like, I'm trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have a question and this, let's get into the weeds of this. Why go to college for any of this? So like you're talking about all, you know, these, obviously internships are helpful, going to school is helpful, not bashing on any of this, but like for you specifically, what makes the most sense for you to going to college?
I think, you know, it's somewhat influenced by my parents. They, you know, really value education and I do too. Like I tried to be like the best student that I could in high school. And, I think like, you know, while I'm young, like I wanted, this is all I want to do. Like but there's a part of me that, you know, I dream to be a dad, dream to have a family and like settle down at some point. And like, it doesn't seem like, you know, this whole, whatever it's freelance or whatever it's anything, like, I'm like, I love structure and I love having something that kind of keeps me in check. And it's like, I like safety. Like I'm not the biggest risk taker when it comes to things. But I think why school for me is, you know, making sure that I can have a foundation to go corporate if like I wanted to and like still have that creative outlet. Like if I wanted to be like, you know, like chief of marketing for like some random corporation, like, you know, benefits are going to be good. That's for sure. But like, I'll still be doing some of the similar things, but being a team leader on that. So kind of giving my own ideas. But I feel like that would be, you know, the reason is just so I can have something to carry me through and be able to settle down and find something beneficial business wise.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I feel like that's smart to have a 4-year. I think you're doing a good thing because like I have a 2-year degree and I've applied, man, I remember I applied to so many jobs, but a lot of them were like, you need a 4-year and, or you need like 5 or more years of like active like workspace experience.
Yeah.
And so I think that'll be like beneficial to you in the long run, just having that, you know, that'll be your ticket.
Yeah, I hope so. Like, I mean, it's given me a lot of opportunity, like, you know, career fairs, like it was really beneficial just like signing for an internship next summer. Like I probably wouldn't have done that if like, I don't know what I would have done next summer, like if I wasn't, you know, doing school or whatever. Cause I'm like, I need something to carry me through. Like I can't, like, I don't know how I do on my own. Like, cause obviously I don't really have my thing yet. Like I'm not making content for anyone. Like I'm just kind of doing my own thing. So it's just like, I'm thankful for like what kind of school has prepared me for and set me up for different success outside of creative industry.
Right on.
And if anything too, it's like it allows you to network with people.
Yeah, for sure.
And it also gives you, I feel like it gives you time, like more time to like think about what you want to do rather than just hopping straight into something and being like, I'm out of school now. Like I need something to keep me afloat, you know? So it is kind of a nice, like, I don't know, space to kind of think.
That's true.
What's the biggest, like, I mean, what's the culture difference like from being like from at KU, you know, Big 12 school, you know, pretty large school in a lot of facets, and then going to Grandview and now at Iowa State? What's like the culture difference with like what you're studying, how you're networking, what you're paying attention to?
It's definitely different. Like KU it's a little bit smaller than it's a lot smaller than what everyone thinks. Like, it's a huge basketball school. Basketball was awesome, but like being there for the national championship, that was sick. But like Jayhawk,
Yeah.
KU baby. But it was like, I'm thinking like they're like 14,000 students or something. Like it's way smaller than Iowa State.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the business school is really connected in events and networking stuff and clubs. Like I was involved in marketing and sales club. And like that was when I wanted to do sales, but like I was still there to kind of like learn how to sell myself. Cause like I feel like everyone's got to get good at that. Mm-hmm. So I was really kind of leaning on that for a while. And then coming to Grandview, there was just no community at all. Like I didn't do it. I didn't really check if there were clubs. Like I was just kind of out of it. Like it was just right after a breakup and I was just like in a like changing period. I was just like, I just want to do these classes. Like that's all I'm doing. I did 2 online classes and like 1 in-person class. That was all that it was. Mm-hmm. And I was working at the time. I was a part-time student, part-time worker. So it was like, wasn't a lot for me. So there was absolutely no community. Like I think I networked with I did a marketing simulation with one of my classes and I networked with my team on LinkedIn and like, I just posted an announcement about like my internship and they all liked it, which is kind of cool, like seeing them again. But like, so I don't have their contact or anything. And It was just kind of out of it. But now Iowa State, the community there within both, being connected with SALT has been amazing. Jumping into that has been great. And then that kind of meshing with like business people and having opportunities has been so cool seeing, one of my good friends, like in my C group is in marketing club with me and he's a year older than me. So he's doing all these digital marketing classes. I'm like, dude, how is it? Like, I just want to ask him like, dude, how is it? Like, how's their project going? Like, do you like the professor? Like, do you like it? So it's definitely that I'm kind of going all in with both clubs and then SALT and then kind of my classes and just enjoying school. I'm like seeing so many benefits come out of it. I'm like, I'm really enjoying getting something. And hopefully I think the marketing club is doing some sort of video production thing. And like, I was able to sign up for being behind the scenes on the video production. So I'm like hoping that comes soon. Cause I'm like, I need it. I want to try and get like some video experience. So it's a lot of opportunities and friends and people are like, yeah, stay at our place. Like you don't have to drive home. Like let's hang out. Like you don't have to go back to West Des Moines. So it's been different levels of community for sure. But thankful for all eras and stages for sure.
You said you're on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
Do you get any hits on LinkedIn? Like, have you been able to connect with possible job opportunities and like also being a full-time student, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sure that's hard to like commit to a job when you're still in school. So like, I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you have the capacity, I guess, number one, and number two, like what's it like being on LinkedIn and getting leads?
Definitely
jobs?
Different. I was just talking to someone at Precious tonight. I was like, I feel like no one here is probably on LinkedIn. Like, I'm like, it's not the creative, like people space, but I was in a class freshman year that we had to make one. I was like, all right, like I'm gonna just do it, just get connections. And last winter I was able to connect with, the brand Ray Gun, the owner of it. I connect with him on that. And then we exchanged emails and I got in contact with him, which is pretty cool. And like, he just was like, dude, like shoot me questions, like if whatever you want to know, like, and that was back when I was before like the brand idea that I have now. Like it was before that, like I had a different idea. It was all on my own. Like I sent him all those ideas. He's like, dude, these are like sweet. Like, so I was able to get that connection, which was sweet, but nothing came out of it. And like, I know he's like big and busy. Like he's got stores, across the Midwest now. But it was cool to kind of see that. Another connection I had that could go somewhere, the brand Elwood.
Yeah.
So they had, I think it was like a marketing PR intern that I connected with. It was their intern from last summer. And I connected with her and was like, asking for opportunities. And, they didn't release their internships until like a summer internship. They didn't release them until May.
Are these paid internships?
I think so. They were, on site LA. And I was like, that's what I wanted to do. Like I wanted whatever it was, like influencer PR, social media content creation. I think that's what she was doing. And I connected with her just so I could ask her questions. And I asked, I was like, are they doing any other internships like for the next future? They're like, we don't know. Like, it's uncertain.
Dude, that'd be crazy, man.
Dude.
Their recent stuff that they dropped was fire, like the corduroy pants and like
I wanted to buy that huge bag. Like that
Yeah.
it was a pretty sweet collection. It's funny because before I signed my offer with Polaris, I reached out to one of the founders. I got his email and I sent him my portfolio. I sent him a professional resume to show him like, you know, some of my background, and then sent him just some random stuff that I was like, maybe this could be beneficial for someone to like, you know, look at. And like, I just kind of like sent like a shot in the dark, just like, you know, whatever, like what happens, happens. And it'd be cool to just like, I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm really passionate about it, motivated, determined. And like, if you have an internship opportunity, like I wanted to hop on it because it's recruiting season right now for like business people, but like they didn't release their PR internship until like the spring. I was like, it feels like that's way too late. And so I was like, maybe they'll see me. I was like, you know, let's hop on it early. Like, let's sign someone. But they never responded. So I was like, it's whatever. But it's kind of cool. Like, I love what they're doing. If they ever have, you know, an opening or something, I was like, I'll totally sign up for that. But kind of signed with someone for the summer right now. So, but yeah.
So talk to us about any other outlets of creativity that you explore. I mean, obviously fashion is a big one, design. So talk to us about like what inspires you, like for your, just like what you're paying attention to in the fashion industry, what you're like replicating like daily, like, you know, in your daily, you know, outfits or whatever that's practical. Just talk to us about that.
Yeah. So like fashion, like it's kind of, I don't know, it kind of like has been a thing for me for not like my whole life, not for sure. Like it wasn't until like, let's see, like middle school, like I was wearing like Nike t-shirts that said like reps, sets, repeat. And I was like, I don't know what this means. Like, but I didn't like it. So I was like, let's change it. So, you know, I was getting the whole PacSun, Zoomies, Urban, like those sweatshirts. I was like, this is my thing. Like, I like this. And it's like, these are expensive. And then that was when I resorted to thrifting and vintage shopping, like right around like 8th grade, freshman year. And I started, like, I didn't know the like value of good pieces back then. Like I was buying like random sweatshirts or like touristy shirts. Cause like I have a love for touristy and like novelty shirts. Yeah. Like I think those are so fun. And like I love the irony of them. Like I lived most of my life in irony, which is kind of funny, but like that's the kind of stuff that I love. And so I started buying those, and then it wasn't until like, you know, growing up, like I started, you know, spending my money on like more like expensive like hoodies and pieces and whatnot. Cause my hoodie collection is like one of my like prized possessions, and I'll like forever keep buying that. And so like for a while, that was what I followed was, guys that are making, you know, loungewear that are kind of making it, you know, like designer loungewear, not like, you know, like big, huge, like fashion house names, but I would like buy like, you know, the guys that are like Drew House. Like that was one of the first hoodies I purchased. I was like, this is like an investment piece. And one of the first ones I remember was Cactus Plant Flea Market and their Kid Cudi merch of the Intergalactic hoodie. That was my dream one. Like freshman year, I was like, I need that. But I was like, this is like a $300 hoodie. I was like, no way I'm buying that. Yeah. So for a while, that was where I gained a lot of inspiration. And that's what like, I started finding my identity in like, oh, I love hoodies. I want to make them. Like I want to make hoodies that I love. Hopefully people are going to enjoy them. So that was like the first idea. Like when I wanted to create a brand was making hoodies that I think are dope and I think other people would think are dope. But it wasn't until like probably the past like 2 years when I started implementing different pieces and focusing more on fashion as a whole rather than just like, oh, cool clothes. So like whether it was like I started wearing jeans a little bit more, like I wasn't wearing sweatpants and joggers like 24/7. So like got in, I remember cleaning out my best friend's grandpa's garage and I got like 5, 6 or 7 jackets, 4 pairs of jeans. And I was like, I'm set. Like it was all for free. And that was when I really was just like, go all in with clothes. And, you know, I'll read articles on Vogue or I'll watch fashion shows just for inspiration. I'm like, I love the ambiance. Like I find a lot of idea and inspiration in the ambiance and the way that they create the set. Like I'll find like, oh, this is the personality they're trying to create. Not through the clothes. Cause I'm like, you know, some of the clothes they do on runway shows are insane. I'm like, you'll never see that on the street. So I'm like, what's the point in watching that? But like getting the ambiance from them and just the overall vibe from music, the lights, like whatever, the setup. I'm like, I love that. And that's where I kind of find a lot of clothing inspiration, I guess, is like putting a personality to it. And it's fun. I enjoy it. Like I enjoy clothes so much.
So talk to us about the hoodie brand that you started.
Well, it hasn't started yet, but I'm like the very beginning stage. I was like drawing on Procreate, like found like a little mock-up, and like I named it Colby. It was Kolb, and it was supposed to stand for King of Lost Boys, because I was like, this would be kind of a cool little like play on words, like a little Christian brand or something. So I was like play on that, and like I was doing little designs of hoodies I think are cool. So like whether it was like little icons, then I would make them huge. And like the whole deal was like, I loved puff print. Like once puff print came out, like I think one of my favorite hoodies I own is Video Store. If you know Kevin Abstract, that's his brand. And I have like the whole matching suit, like sweatsuit of the puff print that's cracked so much to this day because it's not reliable at all. But I was like, it's so just like, it's such a spectacle. And I'm like, it stands out. It's so bright. It's such a bright color. And I was like, I want to make stuff like that. Like I want to make clothing a spectacle. So I made all these sweatshirts that were like, I don't know, random ideas, like best son ever, and like big, huge lettering, or like it was like random cowboy, because I'm like, everyone loves the cowboy vibe. Like I don't know what it is about it, but it's like it's hidden in so many different brands and people are always going to find for it. So I'm like, started doing a little bit of designs with that and like matching sweatpants. And I don't know, it was something I loved doing. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope to see, like, I would take Snapchats of it and be like, this better get on a hoodie someday, or something I'm like, that I can look back on and be like, man, you made it. But like, I changed. Like I didn't like the idea. I was like, kind of moved on from it. Wasn't drawing as much, started working. That was kind of the biggest thing. Didn't have time to kind of like, I don't know, block out my boredom. Like, that's what I kind of found is like blocking out my time to be bored and like create ideas and draw whatever. I'm like, that's what I need to keep doing. Like I need to put in my schedule like an hour and a half of like, dude, be bored. Like, I don't know, scroll on Pinterest or scroll on something else. But like I kind of stopped drawing on it, kind of stopped the idea. And then I just kind of completely forgot about it. And it wasn't until the summer, I was hanging out with my best friend, Luke Durek, and we were talking about, we want to create a brand together. And him and I both have a love for irony and like ironic things like being said on shirts or whatnot. Like his love for novelty shirts is like same as mine, if not more. So like that's where kind of the idea of like, I don't know, wanting to make clothing funny and cool and a spectacle and outrageous at the same time, but like still maintaining, timeless silhouettes and materials and making sure it's professional. Like you don't want to like create like random t-shirts that's just like, like crazy stuff all over. Like I want it to have like some substance to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you at with that process right now?
The process is kind of at a halt. Luke goes to school in LA, so I rarely see him. But like when we are together, like he and I are on our laptops making little designs or typing up document of like, my side, being the business person. I'm like, I made a document of like, and I named it brand identity. And I was like, we got to like do something here. He's like, dude, I just want to like draw, or like, I just want to make something. I'm like, do we have to like think of like, I don't know, like, what do we want to portray like in word? Yeah. I'm like, that was my part of it. Cause he's more of the creative genius with ideas. Like he is so out of the box. And like, I admire that so much about him. And so like we started thinking like, the word is just instigator. And we love that. We like to instigate. Like it has such a negative connotation to it. Like I remember like being as a kid, my parents were like, don't instigate your brother or sister or something. I'm like, whatever. So it's like, now I'm using it as a name. And, we've bounced around ideas. Like I've said to you guys, like, whether it's like camp instigator or something. And it was like I think I don't remember who I told, but it was like, I got asked, I was like, oh, like Camp Flogna? I was like,
yeah.
No, not Camp Flogna. I was like,
told me about that.
Once I got asked that, I was like, oh, Luke, I don't know about it anymore. I'm like, because I was, the ideas, the notes on camp that are outrageous, that are literally making things a spectacle, like Met Gala, whatever year it was a few years ago. I'm like, that's what we're trying to create. It's not some random campground that whatever. So I texted him about it. He's like, dude, I don't know. Like, I still kind of think it's cool. Like, but it's such I don't know. If you know the word, then you know it.
It's like a niche idea to it. Yeah.
It's very small, like, I don't know, small community. Like you have to know what the Met Gala is, because that's what the idea was. It was like the notes on camp. And so we'll see if we keep that. We're still bouncing around. Like I texted him, I was like, dude, I don't know what my official name is. Like I love the idea of just instigator. Like I think that'd be pretty sweet. The idea of like a one worded thing is, I got it from, the brand Bodhi. Yeah. So she was interviewed on Emma Chamberlain's podcast not too long ago. And she was like, there's like talking about how like a standalone name is so like professional. It's so just like, I don't know, it's intimidating. Like it stands alone. It doesn't need something to back it up. And it's like, she told a story. It was like, oh, like someone was like on the street and they're like, oh, like, what are you wearing? Like, oh, this is a Bodhi piece. I'm like, that would be cool. It's like, this is an instigator piece. So that's kind of the inspiration of like, I don't know, behind the name instigator, it's like not wanting to be like, causing havoc with people and like making people mad at you. Like, but it's that way in a joke. Cause it's like, we find so much joy in ironic situations that I'm like, why not make a shirt about it, or like make pants about it or something, like, or the style of the pant. Why not make that like to instigate people? Like a 3/4 pant that people are like, why do his pants look like that? Why did it, like, are they high water? Like, is he preparing for the flood or something? Like, so there's so many ideas that he and I like want to share, and we're barely dipping our toes in right now. So like once he and I, once he graduates, once I graduate, whatever, like move in together, some city or something, because he's doing his own thing in LA, which is so cool, and happy for him, and he's doing cool stuff out there. But that's the idea behind it. That's what we're rolling with. I think it's going to stick.
Yeah.
So sick. Yeah, what's next after you graduate and after your homie graduates? Like, are you thinking about moving to LA possibly? What does the next steps look like?
That's the dream. Cause it seems like, everyone's like, oh, I want to move to LA. Like it seems like everyone is. And like I'll have, like there's people from like my old like middle school that I'm like, oh, they just moved to LA. They're doing content stuff. And it's cool to see them make it and find their kind of thing. But I'm like, do I want to do that? Like, but I know like there's so many connections out there, and he's making so many connections out there. And it seems so cliche, just like, oh yeah, I'm going to move to LA. Like when I'm older, like it's hard, like seeing that. And like, that's become like, I don't know, a bad thing. Cause like people are saying like, there's so much value in staying where you are. Like this is like where your home is. This is like, it's growing. Like Des Moines, like the creative world is growing, and it's so cool. Like we saw that tonight. Like it was so cool to see the community at Precious, and like people say like, there's like a creative revival or something. Like people are bringing it. So it's kind of hard, like me thinking like, do I want to leave or do I want to go? But I'm like, I know there's so much opportunity. Like I know like, I don't know, the views I feel like are better. Like, I don't know, like I'm a palm tree lover. I like whatever. So it's just a bigger city. Like I know is like, I've always been kind of adventurous, like risk taking in that way, not risk taking in business. But I'm like, I love to do, crazy things. Like I'm trying to just like, I don't know, make like the most insane idea or the insane adventure, insane stories that I can, I don't know, put on like a picture or a video or a shirt or whatever. Like like I want to leave an insane, outrageous, instigating like legacy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
okay, what are your next steps, or like have you thought of any next steps for the brand and like getting that going then, like officially, and like what that would look like?
Yeah. So we were chatting or texting the other, like it was like a week or two ago, about like a brand that he and I loved for a while was Basket Case. And they do a lot of secondhand stuff, and they'll find the most unique pieces, like some like boxer shorts, like those like crazy colored silk shorts with like a design on them, or like random stuff like at a flea market. And then they'll outsource that specific product and make that, like, cause it's so unique, and they'll put whatever version of Basket Case they want on it. And they have, so many different logos, whatever it is. Like, so that idea of getting something secondhand and pasting our logo on it, or making whatever design on it and then our logo, like that was like kind of like, I was like, maybe we could start there. Like, I know I don't really have the most connections to like retail companies and like screen printing and whatever. And I'm like, maybe I need to like buy a screen printer or something. So I'm like, maybe that's the start. Cause he and I, we have a lot of designs. We have a lot of things that we want to bring out. And it's cool chatting about those, but they have to get out somewhere. Like they can't just be stuck on my iPad forever. Like I got to do something about it. So that was the idea. Haven't started it yet because I was like, well, it'd be cool. Like if we started, made like one or two things, put a logo on it and just had all our friends wear it and took content, but haven't started it yet. I'm still working on it, but that was kind of like the first step for how like I wanted to see it. Cause I see how it's benefited Basket Case as a brand, and they've kind of made it pretty huge, and they're doing huge sales and drops and stuff. So
you want to start your own brand. That's like the dream.
Yeah.
So coming out of college, you'll most likely need to get some sort of job that can help financially support whatever adventure you go down. And if you pursue your brand. So like, what's like kind of your dream jobs and scenarios for post college? Like what type of jobs would you want to work? Because I know you said you have experience doing like social media stuff. Is that kind of like what you enjoy, or would you want to have a more design based job? Like what are you thinking?
I think with the social media experience, like it's little, but I'm like, I know kind of like how it kind of runs. I would love to get more into it. Like with like what I'm doing for this summer, like at Polaris, like not sure officially, but on the marketing team, like I would do any marketing job for a corporate business. So whatever that entails, like after college, post graduation, like working on a marketing team, whether that's digital media, social media, PR influencing, like I would totally do any of that, even if it doesn't entail like me embracing like creativity and bringing that out in my job, because I can still do that as like it's my hobby right now. Like I can still do that, but I would totally do whatever it's like content creation for a brand. Like that's what I was doing for Chick-fil-A. So I'm like I would do that for a business, or I'd do it for whatever. And that could be, I don't know, because I don't want to go back to Chick-fil-A. Like I don't want to do something like that again. So I'm like I want it to be a little bit more on the professional side for sure. But I think overall marketing, like since I have the degree, or will have the degree, like I'm going to follow with that for sure.
Sweet.
Who are some other people that inspire you creatively, or like brands, or just things in general? I feel like we touched on it a little bit earlier, but like who are some more people that inspire you?
For sure. Some of my favorite like style people, Jake Goss from LA, New York. He is one of my favorite. Like he's like a role model in so many ways, just because his wife is the daughter of the pastor of Mosaic Church, which is one of my favorite churches. Like I listen to Erwin's podcast and like I love his sermons. And their whole vibe at the church is insane. Like I was about to sign up for their creative marketing internship, but I was like, it's unpaid. And I was like, moving to LA unpaid. I don't know if I can do that right now. But him for sure, just cause like I love Laney, like I love their music, and him balancing that life, being on tour, but also being like in the church and being so connected and having a wife and a kid. I'm like, I love the way he does his life. Like it's such a good balance. And he's shared on so many podcasts, like that it's hard, but he enjoys it so much. And plus his style is sick. Like the way he does, like I found like a love for 3/4 pants from him. Like he'll cut, dress pants and like sew them and hem them to make him look a little bit better than just like frayed bottoms. But, another one would probably be Nick Holiday. I love Nick Holiday. Like I love Holiday brand. I buy so much stuff from them. Like this colorful grunge. Like that's what it's so messy, but it's so like colorful at the same time. Another one, Nate Brown is one of my favorites. He's a freelance creative director. I found him on TikTok like a while ago, and he provides like a lot of like insight on, because he's worked with like Kanye and Beyonce, and I think like Alexander Wang, like random brands and people like in the industry, and done just the inside work. And he's such like an effortlessly cool person that I'm like, I'll do whatever you say. Like I'll buy whatever book you say or whatever. So his style is more like minimalistic and professional, but still like completely styled, like to a point where like, okay, like this guy knows he's cool. Like, so I think he focuses a lot on like really nice, like, sweaters and jeans and button up shirts. Like he's way more professional. I think he's like pretty old in the industry, but he's like, he was the person that recommended The Creative Act. I was like, okay, I'll read that book because Nate Brown said it.
Such a good book.
Yeah, love that book. I'll hold that thing till I die. And then Justin Saul, who owns Elwood, he's pretty cool, pretty good style. Those are a few, but I'm like, those are the guys I look for, like even like picture inspo. Like I'll do whatever they're doing. Like I'm inspired to be like kind of like have their aesthetic, their vibe for sure.
What social media platforms are you on? Like you're on Instagram. Mm-hmm. We talked about LinkedIn. That's kind of a different type of thing. You've talked about TikTok a lot, and you've also mentioned Pinterest. Mm-hmm. So like outside of Instagram, like, and we can get into Instagram too, but like, what are like your favorite apps that you gravitate towards for like your personal stuff, but also like collecting inspiration? And from a marketing standpoint too, like from what you've learned in school and like observed.
Yeah. There was an app, I think it was called Upwork, that one of my parents, like best friends, they lived in Lawrence and he's in marketing. So like I was able to really connect with him and he's an artist. So I was really able to kind of gain insight from him. And I think it was called Upwork. It was like where designers and creative people are posting their stuff to get noticed. And it's basically kind of stuff. So I would scroll on there just to look. Like I'm not posting any of my own stuff, but I would scroll on there to look for design inspo, and kind of like what are people creating, what are fonts that people using. I like that kind of stuff. Like and like TikTok, I'll do whatever on TikTok and find different creators. Like what are the cool people doing right now? And it's like those people that are providing that inspiration and that insight. I'm like, all right, I trust you. I'm going to follow you now. Other apps I'm trying to think. Cause like those are like the main ones that I use. Like I don't have like some like hidden app that like no one's heard of. Like I'm on Spotify. Like I love music. Like I love getting inspiration from lyrics and, cause I grew up choir kid. Like I wasn't athletic, didn't do sports. And so I love hearing like super cool harmonies and music. Like I did band for a year. It's embarrassing to say, but I was a band kid. So I can appreciate like a good background music.
We're band kids too.
There we go.
Yeah. Y'all remember the app Clubhouse? I thought that was going to be way bigger than it was.
I do remember Clubhouse.
I don't remember.
Oh, dude, it was like an interactive podcast chat room, I guess would be.
Was that 2019? Was that before COVID or during COVID?
I feel like it was during COVID. I feel like I found it during COVID and I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is a unique way to spend my time. I found a lot of people in that realm. It was basically like you could join like this room and their moderators could allow certain people to talk. You could open it up to everybody. You could also like type questions, and it was basically like a live thing before TikTok Live and Instagram Live really took off.
Is it still a thing, or is it just?
I don't think it's even around anymore. I'm gonna look, but
there were so many apps that came out during COVID for people to connect. I think there was one called like Party House too that I was like that my friends and I would play games on, and it was like a Zoom call.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember Chris Scott. So one of my homies, Chris Scott.
Still a thing.
Is it on there?
Yeah, it's still an app, I guess.
Oh wow,
interesting.
Still roll out updates.
Wow,
so
crazy.
I just think it fell off. Like nobody kept using it.
Yeah.
Anymore. But
so my homie Chris used to live in Des Moines, and he was a photographer, and like his work was insane. Like I think he's retired from photography, but man, like I miss seeing like his work, because like he honestly is one of the big reasons why I ever got into photography. Like he really inspired me and like pushed me to get into it. But I remember he was telling me about Clubhouse at one point, and it was crazy because at the time, like I felt like kind of the vibe that was really popular at the time was like kind of like cinematic film type like style photography with like really dark lighting, but like colors and stuff like that, like street photography, but like you know, like very cinematic and like film. And so anyway, I remember like Chris got in a Clubhouse group with like some of these photographers over in Europe, like Germany. There was one photographer from like, I think Germany, and one from Spain, and like people with like hundreds of thousands of followers, and like some of the best photographers that like I've ever seen. And like Chris got in that chat with those people, and like I don't even know if they spoke English, but like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that was a cool concept, but yeah, it's kind of funny that you bring that up, because like I have not heard anything about it.
Yeah, I forgot about that app.
Do y'all think Threads is gonna like fall off?
I still haven't downloaded it.
I don't think it's
gone on
gonna
it.
fall off. I just don't think that the way I see it, like with social media in general, like everyone was going back and forth, like, is Twitter gonna die? Is Threads gonna die?
Yeah.
The age we live in, social media is an and, it's not an or. People are on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
Instagram and Snapchat, TikTok, and whatever it is, it's not an or anymore. So, you know, I personally, I don't utilize, I have Threads, I have Twitter, I have Facebook, Instagram, I have all of it. But the stuff that I utilize is stuff that I gravitate, that actually like fills me back up, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I tried to set time limits and, you know, like whatever daily limits on my phone for how much I'm on Instagram. And like you said, it was like a good idea for like to vocalize that, like set time aside to be like, I'm just going to scroll for a while. I'll do that sometimes, like whether I'm at work or at lunch or something like that. Sometimes I'll just scroll reels and be like, what's like, is this text that is on this screen like wanting me to read this caption, or like is this song actually going to grab my attention? So all that to say is like, I think Instagram and their Threads, I don't think it'll fall off necessarily. I just don't know that it'll ever replace any platform to its entirety.
Yeah.
That would be my,
That's valid.
I feel like I like it because it's a platform that I put stuff on there, but like I do not expect anyone to like it at all. And I kind of like that personally. Like I can just say whatever I want.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Maybe not to that extent.
Noah's just going wild on Threads thinking nobody's
I
watching.
need to check his account now.
I swear to you, it's all very like very good like stuff. Like,
Family friendly, okay.
yeah, it's like stuff that I hope people like. I hope it encourages people. Like that's the type of stuff that I like to share on there. But also like I won't get likes on it, but I don't care because to me it's almost like instead of having like notes in my phone, like I can just put my notes on this app, and it's like
an archived diary.
It's kind of cool, you know.
The one thing I will say, I to your point, I think, man, we really got off on a rabbit trail, but I think we focus way too much on the grid. I know I do, because I'm like, I don't want someone to tap on something and it's like, that belongs as a sixth slide on like someone else. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
and it's like, man, is this good enough? What I really appreciate is I just hide all the likes. I just hide all the views. I don't care. I'm going to post stuff that I like, that resonates with me, that I think works. And if it's not something that doesn't fit my style, I'm going to at least make sure that it resonates at least with me enough that I'm going to post it.
yeah.
And I think that's what's important.
What do you think about the grid, Jayden?
Man, I tried, like, you know, because like after breakup, you know, went through the Instagram, cleaned it out, and then I was just like, you know, just get rid of old photos. Why not? And I like went through like a Jayden rebrand phase. And so I like tried to, and like I started seeing, I think there's this guy on TikTok that rates people's Instagrams. It's pretty comical, but like he has somewhat good insight. Like I don't know if he's in like design or whatever, but it's like more aesthetic wise and like, oh, like this is a cool photo. This is a cool pose. The colors look good on this. Like, or he'll like the story highlights, you know, that people are starting to like really get into, of like, you know, a good cover photo for your story highlight, and like not to put like emojis on a story highlight, like get emojis out of the world. Like that's all he's saying. And I'm like, I like kind of the insight he has, and they're pretty entertaining. Like I'm like, but I don't want mine to be judged. Like I'm like, stay away from mine. Like, but he has some pretty good advice on him. It's pretty entertaining.
That's cool. The one thing that I really don't appreciate, and this is just a hot take, is how interwoven Meta is on all their platforms. Because whenever I get on Facebook, I don't want to see reels that then, like, if I go to comment, it'll say, this was posted by Instagram. Go to Instagram to comment. I'm like,
I've never seen that. That's weird.
oh, do you use Facebook much?
Not
You're a
much.
young kid.
Like when I see my parents post my birthday.
I hate
I'll be like,
Facebook. I hate it.
Here's the thing is like, my algorithm is different for each platform. You know what I'm saying? So like I'll go on TikTok to look at certain things. Usually TikTok is like my humor outlet.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Then like Facebook, like I have like videos of like Theo Vaughn and like Bert Kreischer, and then like golfing videos and like like a lot of different
So diverse.
Exactly, really diverse. And then I'll get on Instagram and it's like film, photo, producing, music. Like so all these platforms are generated for me personally per platform. But like I'll get on like Instagram and then like I'll scroll for a couple minutes and then you'll see like the threads bar and then you'll just see like a carousel of threads. I'm like, if I wanted to see threads, I'd go on threads. If I want to see reels on Facebook, I'd go to Instagram. You know what I'm saying? That's my only complaint, and that may just be me. Some people may like that feature, but personally I hate it.
I feel like I use Facebook for like my personal life stuff. For example, I'm getting married next year. So like, a lot of stuff that has to do with like my personal life, like, marriage, baby, like all these things. Like I almost view Facebook as more of that platform for me. That's just how I am because it's like my parents are on that platform.
Yeah.
And so it's like if I post that stuff, like I want my parents or my aunts and uncles and whoever to like see that and like it because they're not on Instagram. And
Sure.
like Instagram is kind of like the layout of it's kind of like a portfolio. So like
It really is.
Yeah.
I like to post some of my personal stuff. Like I've been posting a lot of like pictures of Michaela and I from our engagement shoot.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a trend, or I don't even know if it's a trend, but it's kind of a common thing where like every month, like someone posts a picture closer to their wedding and they're like X amount of months till wedding day or whatever,
for
right?
sure, I've seen it.
But like I view my Instagram as more of like a portfolio and more of a running mood board of my life.
100%. 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
It's like I did it, like I made a little like TikTok about, it was funny because I was like, y'all ever feel like you're more of an Instagram photographer than like a professional photographer? Because I was like, you guys are talking like camera settings, and I'm like,
oh, you just opened
no.
a can of worms, bro.
dude, let's
We're
dig
gonna
in.
run out of time, but let's go.
I was like, I cannot to like figure out camera settings to save my life. Like you guys talk about like shutter speed. I'm like, what? Or like, what is color balance? And I can't, but if you give me like this is literally what I said in TikTok. I was like, if you give me like my iPhone, my digital cam, my film camera, my Teza Premium and Photoshop, I will make a good carousel for you. Like I know, like I'm
Dude,
like
the stuff you made out of the shoot that we had with like Lauren and you,
that was
like
so fun.
all the photos like I gave to you, and then you just like combine them with all the stuff that you captured. I'm like, dude, shut up. You're not fair. It's so sick.
It's like that's like become my outlet, but I was like, there's nothing for me to like do with that. Like I'm just like I love making Instagram like a fun portfolio for me to express like my whatever talent is. Like it's not photography, it's not graphics. It's like seems like it's like a melting pot of just different things, and I'm like I love putting it together. Like I enjoy it so much. Like I remember saying, I was like, I understand every single vibe that everyone's trying to create. Like, like the really like almost glossy looking digital portrait pictures, and like the, like, when you set your phone like really like stable and like you're trying to get like this aesthetic video of like something zoomed in. Like everyone does that like on vacation, and like the random photos of like an angle or something. Like I understand like the whole entire vibe. I'm like, I feel like I can put something together for that. I'm like, might as well go into social media, but an Instagram photographer, that's what I should make my title. Like not a professional photographer. That's for sure.
Yeah. What do y'all, man, that's so interesting. Like, social media really has made it possible for honestly anybody can get into
Yeah.
that world if they want to. And obviously everything's subjective too. Like you're gonna have your crowds for like each style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there is like your iPhone photo, like Pinteresty crowd that's like, hey, I'm gonna lower my exposure on my iPhone and like get a shot with my iPhone, and it looks really sick.
Yeah.
Like for myself, like I can appreciate like all those different like niches,
For sure.
and like value them, and I think there's a place for all of them. But it's just interesting that
100%.
you bring that up because it's like true. Like we've talked about the feeling of like being like, am I really a photographer, or like, can I really consider myself this? Because like you get caught in like the comparison game a lot with social media.
Yeah.
So
that ain't that the truth. Like I see like cuz there's people that have like super cool feeds and I'm like, "Oh, they must do something cool." And then they're like, "Oh, like I work in like I don't know, finance or something." And I'm like, "What?" Like and they'll have a TikTok of everything, but like they're starting to monetize their TikTok, but they have some corporate job and I'm like anyone can do this. It is created such like a cool world for people to create something and like really, I don't know, show their eye for like, you know, creative like pictures and like items of like random stuff, like wherever they're at, like no matter what the city is, I'm like, oh, that I want to go to that city because I'm like that's cool. Like that's a cool vibe. Like no matter the city, and anyone can do it.
yeah, man, I feel like,
We got Noah thinking, and it's late at night, bro.
yeah,
It is
maybe
sleepy
I don't know.
time.
Maybe we talk off camera. I can't remember what exactly I was gonna say, but shit, that's tough.
No, this is good, man. Dude, we appreciate having you on. And honestly, this will kind of tie into what inspired me this week, actually. So let's get into that. We end up every episode the same way of what inspired us. What inspired me was like lately I've been listening to a lot of music, making a lot of music, going to a couple shows. Last night, me and my friend Thaddeus, we got to open for a show, which was super fun.
Sweet.
And then one of the guys that followed our act, he got up there and he just blew us out of the water. He's so talented. But what was super sick was like he started playing like his music, and during the, you know, in between songs, he was just telling us about himself. And he's like, yeah, so if you look me up, you know, on Spotify or whatever, you won't find me. Like none of these songs are out there. He's just like, I'm just a filmmaker, and I just get to, you know, go on the road and like play my songs, you know, a couple times and then, you know, get back to work. And I'm like, dude, that's so sick. And so like I talked to him for a few minutes, followed him on Instagram, and bro, his work is so rad. His songs were sick. He's talented. And then like he's like, yeah, I don't even do this. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's so sick. And so the coolest thing about it was like his merch. He's like, I don't have t-shirts, but I got a photo book back there if you want it. I'm like, oh, that's so dope. So I went and bought his photo book. He's like, dude, you played too. He's like, you didn't have to buy it. I would have given it to you. And I'm like, yeah, no, let me support you, man. Like you're on the road. I'm a local. Like I didn't travel for this. I just did it for fun to help Thaddeus and, you know, their act out.
Cool,
but
though.
yeah, it was super inspiring. And so I bought his photo book, and it's talking about the feature length doc that he made while in Cuba.
Wow.
And I just flipped through some of the pages, and dude, his work is super sick. So his name is Corey McLean. His Instagram is not that though. His Instagram is quick shout out Corey McNorrie.
Let's see.
But yeah, super sick dude. Super rad.
Stuff.
Good stuff. Good dude. Like just fun to hang out with and talk to. And so yeah, man.
Dope.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yes. Yo, this what?
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like,
Bro.
he's got some killer stuff.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that's so clean. Like
Yeah.
that's like crispy, bro. Wow.
That's like
Looks like an Apple
6
background.
years old, man.
Like,
That's
Hey,
crazy.
This is a bucket list shot for me, is like going to a desert.
Sand dunes.
His-
I want to go to the
They're
dunes
insane.
somewhere,
Yeah,
man.
dude. His the cover of his photo book is this shot, and that's like the cover, and it's just so dope.
Desert, ocean.
I think it's the ocean. I think.
Man, that's trippy.
Yeah, it's like
I know. Like
Maybe I'm just tired. I don't know.
No, like it really is, and I think the photo on the book is black and white, so you can't even tell. I'm trying to remember if it's black and white.
In
or if
many
it's just,
ways, a desert is an ocean.
Oh,
That's
Yo, that's crazy.
Put that on a shirt right now.
Yo, that's actually crazy if you think about it.
no,
very
he's talking
similar.
about he's just be going off on threads.
Yo, a desert is a dried up ocean.
Man.
Maybe.
I'm
I don't
gonna
know.
have to fact check you on that.
I don't know about
Hey,
that
I
one.
like the idea.
the
I like
first
where you're
idea.
headed.
Thoughts we're getting into.
Yo, the first comment I made was pretty dope. The second one was,
I'll still rock with it. I'll still rock with
It's
it.
all right. What you got? What's inspired you?
ooh, there's been a lot going on
That's what I'm
lately.
saying. This month has been crazy. It is hard to pick one, but
Yeah. I think like, man, I don't know. Life has been so busy lately. It's been like a lot. Like it feels like a lot of like different things happening and it feels like a lot to carry. But at the same time, amidst like all the busyness, I've been able to find time to go do things still that like you know, when you feel swamped, it's like, I don't know if I can take on one more thing, almost like that feeling. But amidst this crazy like season that I'm in currently, it's like I was able to go to long shots on Saturday for like an hour and a half, or I don't even know how long that was, but like pulled up to that. And that was super sick because, first of all, like the whole like purpose and mission behind it, like bringing the community together through like basketball, art and music and food, like really dope idea. And like, so like shout out to Billy and like the Be Well Foundation, and seeing all of the Creators POV alumni was sick.
I'm saying we need that on a shirt, bro. From all our
That was
guests.
a cool idea you had. We were talking about it. I was like,
Yeah.
I need that now.
Like it was I love like just I remember pulling up and like you just see like, you know, everybody's just like grouped up and it's like Neek, Borg, Charles, Billy, Drew, who hasn't been on the podcast yet, but he will be. Like Riz, saw Riz. He's a really dope cat too. We'll have to get him on as well. He's got a brand. So many dope people. I got to also see people from high school that I haven't seen since high school,
That's cool.
which is like, it's crazy to me how fast like time has flown by since then. And so like getting to reconnect with them was really dope. And like, we're in completely different places in life, but being able to like come together and like have a conversation is like cool. And then like tonight as well, the Precious office party was sick. We all were there, obviously, but connecting with like a bunch of different people and like seeing so many familiar faces of people that like I know personally or that I know of. Like,
Yeah.
there was like some like really like talented people in there, but just like some OGs in there, like Des Moines
And I
legends.
counted, that's why I counted nine alumni that we've had on the podcast besides us two that were there tonight. And I'm like, man, it's like the whole community, like you said, there's like some kind of creative revival going on. It's
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. And like I got to also meet a bunch of new people that I've never met before, which is also cool.
Yeah.
And we were talking about like you possibly moving to LA. I met a guy who moved here from LA.
Actually, no way.
Yeah.
Tonight?
Yeah, like, and he's never been to Precious before, but he just came in, and his name's Nick. So shout out Nick because he followed us on the podcast too, and
Let's
we'll have
go.
to have him on as well. But like, I remember like he came in and like I could kind of tell he didn't maybe know a lot of people, but we connected like almost immediately as soon as like I made eye contact with him and just got to hear about like kind of his story and stuff. And like it was just honestly super sick. And I think that was a really dope event that Seth and like Precious put on, and they killed it with that. So
Yeah, it was sweet. They created a cool ambiance in that place. That is pretty nice.
yeah,
Trying to think what has inspired me lately.
Beautiful Blur.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? I've been listening to that album on repeat. That and Calico by Ryan Beatty. Those two. I want to say music. Like music has gotten really back into music. Like I took a break for a while and I was on a huge podcast grind and I was on a huge sermon grind. Like I would listen to Chad Veach, Rich Wilkerson, Judah Smith. Like they're all of my favorites. And I was just kind of like in the focus of getting like a new word for like my life and for the future. And now that I've kind of like seen that like come forward, I'm like, I'm really living that. Like now I'm just wanting to explore music and go just full in, just like go back to the days when I'm like on a night, just like listening to a song. And then like, I'll wake up the next morning, like, oh, I added this song. Now I remember why I added it. Like, so I'd say definite music, like the stuff that Lainey is doing right now. Like I love it so much. They're enjoying their tour. They're doing. I'm excited for tour in March. Need to buy Kansas City. Are you buying Kansas? Did you buy it,
Bro, so I looked like 2 days ago. The GA is sold out.
You're kidding.
I don't want to sit in the stands,
No,
bro.
I know, GA or
not
nothing.
worth it, man.
But I'm hyped to go. Like it'll be good.
You're going to Chicago, right?
Chicago and Minneapolis. Within the same week, I'm going a Monday or Tuesday and a Friday.
I got 4 tickets and I can sell them, so hit me up.
Hit him up. He's gonna sell his tickets.
I can't go.
You can't go.
It's during the busiest time of the year for work for me. It's the whole Easter week is
Good
like
Friday.
I
Yeah.
literally had no idea it was that weekend, and I just randomly bought him. I was like, oh wait, I guess I'm spending Easter weekend in Chicago with my old roommates.
I
like,
wish,
I had no
bro,
idea.
I wish, man.
That's
I'm
wild.
so sad, but it's fine. I've already seen them, luckily, so it's not like I'm missing out on like too much. Like I am missing out on a lot, but
That's right. This is actually my like first concert. Like I don't go to concerts.
this is your
really.
first concert.
Like I went to a Pentatonix concert. My dad took me like years ago. I don't count that because I was like
Yeah.
my choir kid phase.
Yeah.
But like now that I actually not my first. I went to one. The Iowa State Union has a little dive bar in the basement, and I'm in a music class just like as a credit. And like one of our projects was to go to a little live concert to analyze it. I went by myself. Most humbling experience I've ever done. Like, I think I'm an outgoing person, but I was standing there just like everyone was just nodding their heads like Sims. I was like, this is Sims 3 right now. And I was standing there. I was like, I don't want to talk to anyone. Like, I'm just like listening to the music, but it was so weird. So I'm like, I don't count either of those because it was like,
That's hilarious.
I was just listening to music. But like now, like seeing Lainey for the first time, I'm like, this is my actual real first concert where I'm like, I know the words, like I know the band, and I love the band.
yeah,
So,
bro, you're gonna lose your mind.
I'm gonna go. I'm
Dude,
gonna go crazy.
seeing your favorite bands in person, there's nothing like it, man.
Yeah.
I wish I was a huge concert person.
Also,
I
like,
was trying to get tickets to the 1975 last year, and I missed it.
well, they were on tour. Like
they're
this
on their
fall,
US.
right?
Well, they're on their US leg right now. The closest they're gonna be for me, I think, would be Chicago, and that's still like 5 hours. So
I would
it's hard to justify on a weekend. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I would.
They were in Minneapolis last year, but I didn't realize until like 2 days before, and I was like, I can't swing it. But
Oh man. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're good. Never mind.
we'll finish off camera. But
Yeah,
dude,
we
thanks
will.
for being on, man.
Thanks for having me.
This was
guys.
good,
This has
and
been
this
awesome.
was another episode of the Creatives POV podcast. We'll see you in the next one. See you.
Peace.